everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Welcome into the stream. Welcome in. How you guys doing today? This song sucks.
Music itself, the feeling of it.
Let's get a good song here. This should be going. Hello, everybody. Welcome in, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Michael. Today is Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We are back, going to be working on and doing some more studying in Python once again. My dad does not gamble, Tim. He's an old... Yeah. Alright, my connection here is pretty bad. Come on. Again. My dad does not gamble, Tim. Alright. Luis, how's it going, my friend? Welcome in, dude. My connection's really spotty right now. We'll give it a second to catch back up here. It's really spotty. Why? All right, I think we're all good. Hey everybody, welcome in. My name is Michael. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate you coming in today. Sorry, Mahan, no Leet today. Yep, no Leet today. You heard it here first. Sorry, no Leet. Gonna be working on the project today, getting some stuff done. Should be a good day though. All right, let's go ahead and load up our book here, Fluent Python, chapter 3. We did 2 problems yesterday, so you guys got lucky yesterday. All right, chapter 3. No April Fools today. Sorry. We got to keep going on our project. I met with my old man, got some more information. So we are ready to move forward, I think. All right, here we go. All right, we are moving on here to Fluent Python Chapter 3. If you guys are part of the early crew here, then please leave a like on the stream. Thank you so much for joining me here. Leave some hearts in the chat. Spam that heart on the live chat or the celebration. Thank you so much for being here and joining me and working on yourselves. This is just as much about me as it is about me. We're learning together here side by side, doing what we can to try and really teach ourselves this stuff. So thank you truly for joining me here. We are going to get started with and continue on with our reading into Fluent Python. You can find a copy of this book in my description in my Discord link down below. But we have been reading this book for a few weeks now, and we are on chapter 3, page 107 of 1011 up at the top, but page 77 on the hard text here. I click the hearts, but I don't see anything happening. It's okay. Thanks for coming in, Wing Hong. Good to see you again. Good to hear from you. How you doing, my friend? All right, let's get into this. We use dictionaries in all our Python programs, if not directly in our code. Then indirectly, if not directly in our code, then indirectly because the dict type is a fundamental part of Python's implementation. Class and instance attributes, module namespaces, and function keyword arguments are some of the core Python constructs represented by dictionaries in memory. The built-ins, the dunder built-ins.dunderDict stores all built-in types, objects, and functions. Because of their crucial role, Python dicts are highly optimized and continue to get improvements. Hash tables are the engines behind Python's high-performance dicts. Other built-in types based on hash tables are set and frozen set. These offer richer APIs and operators than the sets you might have encountered in other popular languages. In particular, Python sets implement all the fundamental operations from set theory, like union, intersection, subset tests, etc. With them, we can express algorithms in a more declarative way, avoiding lots of nested loops and conditionals. Here's a brief outline of this chapter. Modern syntax to building and handling dicts and mapping, including enhanced unpacking and pattern matching, common methods of mapping types, special handling for missing keys, variations of dicts in the standard library, the set and frozen set types, implications of hash tables and the behaviors of sets and dictionaries. Script Serpent, dude. Hey, dude. How's it going? How's that game you've been working on? I really appreciate you coming in again and saying hi, dude. How's you been? How's your studying been going? Maybe if we have some time at the end, we could do a Leet, but I'm not prioritizing it today, unfortunately. I want to work on the project. What's new in this chapter? Most changes in this second edition cover new features related to mapping types. Modern dict syntax on page 78 covers enhanced unpacking syntax and different ways of merging mappings, including the bar and bar equals operator supported by dicts since Python 3.9. Pattern matching with mappings on page 81 illustrates handling mappings with match/case since Python 3.10. Collections.ordered dict on page 95 now focuses on the small but still relevant differences. Okay, whatever. The underlying implementation of a dict and set still relies on hash tables, but the dict code has two important optimizations that save memory and preserve insertion order of the keys in a dictionary. Practical consequence of how dicts works on page 102 and practical consequences of how sets works on page 107 summarize what you need to know to use them well. After adding more than 200 pages in the second edition, I moved the optional section Internal Sets and Dictionaries to the fluentpython.com companion website. This updated and expanded 18-page post includes explanations and diagrams about the hash table algorithm and data structures, starting with its use in set, which is simpler to understand, the memory optimization that preserves key insertion order in dict instances, and the key sharing layout for dictionaries holding instance attributes, the dunder dict of user-defined objects. Alright, modern dict syntax. The next sections describe advanced syntax features to build, unpack, and process mappings. Okay, so this chapter is called, what's it called? Dictionaries and sets. Okay, and then we have a heading here. Modern dict syntax. Okay, the next sections describe advanced syntax features to build, unpack, and process mappings. Some of these features are not new in the language, but may be new to you. Others require Python 3.9 like the bar operator, or Python 3.10 like match case. Let's start with the best and oldest of these features, dict comprehensions. Since Python 2.7, the syntax of list comps and generator expressions was adapted to dicts comprehensions and set comprehensions as well, which we'll soon visit. A dict comp builds a dict instance by taking key value pairs from any iterable, right? key value pairs. Example 3-1 shows the use of a dict comprehension to build two dictionaries from the same list of tuples. We've done this before, right? So you have a list of tuples. You say country code for every code, country in dialed codes, right? So in dialed codes, you have code, country for every element at every index. You're unpacking two variables and assigning country and code to dictionary values and wrapping it in dictionary syntax. Yeah, this one's pretty easy. Okay. Unpacking mappings. PEP 448 additional unpacking generalizations enhance the support of mapping unpackings in two ways since Python 3.5. First, we can apply double stars to more than one argument in a function call. This works when keys are all strings and unique across all arguments, because duplicate keyword arguments are forbidden. So we definition dump keyword arguments, return keyword arguments, dump this here gives you xz, x1, y equal y2, z, and 3 values. Oh, so you can unpack this here. Second, star star can be used inside a dict literal also multiple times. Okay, so if you have a dictionary within a dictionary, it'll unpack the entire dictionary within this current. Well, we have an x1. In this case, duplicate keys are allowed. Later occurrences overwrite previous ones. See the value mapped to x in this example. X was equal to 1 when it was unpacked here, but x is now equal to 4 because it's set to the later value. This syntax can also be used to merge mappings, but there are other ways. Please read on. Unpacking mappings. We can use, right, the... Oh, what's going on here? The star star. Can be applied to more than one argument in a function call to unpack dictionaries. Not unpack dictionaries, but so we'll say this. What does star star do in Python for dict? In Python, star star is used for dictionary unpacking. Okay, it takes key value pairs from one dictionary, spreads them into another dictionary or function call. You can merge those two together and unpack them. Okay. To unpack a dictionary can be used to merge dictionaries together like so. This book should be way simpler. Yeah, this one is definitely more simple than the why is it doing that? Why is it doing that? Okay. Whatever that was. I didn't realize there are so many details with dictionaries. Yeah, they're really, really useful. A lot of stuff. Loki stopped working on it. I took a break and I'm planning on learning OpenGL soon. Nice, dude. Yeah, this book is way easier. I like this book a lot. I don't know what Mahan's problem is. Okay, merging mappings with the bar. Python 3.9 supports using bar and bar equals to merge mappings. This makes sense since these are also the set union operators. The bar operator creates a new mapping. Dictionary 1 is this. Dictionary 2 equals to this. Dictionary 1 merge dictionary 2 creates A2, B4, C6. So it merges the two together. Bar or bar equals can be used to merge dictionary mappings. Come on, copy. Usually the type of the new mapping will be the same as the type. See, I didn't know any of this stuff before. This is why I like reading this book, is we're getting a real, in-depth, more expert, advanced Pythonic overview of some of these operators and how to use them better. When you're interviewing for jobs and stuff, and I guarantee you, like, I obviously I don't know, I don't have any experience in it, but I would think, right, being an experienced, chemist and biochemist myself, if someone comes into an interview referencing like various functional groups of organic chemistry or, redox reactions of various sorts or things like that, then I'm gonna, they're gonna know what they're talking about. So if I come in there and I'm given a Leet code problem and I'm able to use some more advanced Python syntax, I think that'll immediately just give you like an eyebrow up, like, oh, huh. So, this stuff is good to know. Just in general, though. Usually the type of new mappings will be the same as the type of the left operand, D1, in the example. But it can be the type of the second operand if the user-defined types are involved, according to the operator overloading rules we explore in Chapter 16. To update an existing mapping in place, we use the bar equals. Either used to merge dictionary mapping to a new dictionary, right? And then we'll give bar equals right, used to merge dictionary mappings in place. Continuing from the previous example, where D1 is equal to A1, B3, if we merge D1 with D2, we get A2, B4, C6 on D1 itself. Someone want to help out Solakin in the Discord? He's chiming in. I got a Discord link down below if you guys are new here. It's got a roadmap. It's got a PDF copy of this book, my personal notes, everything you guys need to follow a current, model or mimic my current learning journey so far, if you so please. I'm just learning this by myself in my room after my 9-to-5 job as a chemist. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry. And I've been working as a formulation chemist ever since I graduated college back in 2021. I really appreciate you guys being here and hanging out with me. How is bar merging D1 and D2? Because you're overriding value, so it's keeping the value of C right into this, but it's saying it's printing this variable itself. This is creating a new mapping, as if we could save this. This is returning a new dictionary of this. So you're printing D1 bar D2. Rather, in this example, you're just printing D1, and D1 was overrode or written in memory. So this one, you could save D3 as the return value of this function, of this call, and D3 would be represented by this. These values are different than D1 here because the later values are overridden. Because D2 is on the right side to be the overriding factor, we override on D2. Or sorry, we override in favor of D2. If we swap these, I think we would override in favor of D1. Yeah, merging, just like with numbers, right? Plus equals versus plus. All right, let's keep going. A couple more minutes here, you guys. Thank you for joining me here. It's really awesome. I know this kind of, Mahan's Mr. Bad Attitude over there, but this can kind of seem boring and daunting. But you guys, this has been the fastest way I've been able to find my, honestly, in all genuineness, this is the fastest way I personally have been able to learn, and this is my main approach of learning and gaining new information is by reading it and taking notes from a physical text. Videos, it's just too easy to get distracted. Mahan's been watching too many TikToks. He's been too much brain rot, so his focus is burnt. But yeah, you guys. Oh, what the heck? Why did it do that? Okay. Pattern matching with mappings. How'd you guys like that stock market boom today? Boom! Oh, I'm lagging again. Yeah, Lyric. You're a lyricist. Thank you for coming in. I've been away for a while. I've missed a lot. No worries, dude. Thanks for stopping in again and saying hello. Leave a like and appreciate you for coming in, dude. Yeah, I've been streaming every day. The grind hasn't stopped over here and just been going live. It's all recorded, so feel free to, honestly, you guys, throw them on in the background when your study sessions, and just use those as tools to hold yourself accountable. I have hours upon hours, almost 500 hours so far of just live replays you can go back and just put in the background while you're studying to just, keep, focused, or hold, say, oh, I'm going to work as long as Michael's working on this, just use it as a tool to keep yourself accountable, right? We should do a play-by-play watch party of Mike's first ever stream, dude. It'd be bad. I don't think I talked much the whole time. I was reading a Python crash course out of the book right on my desk, and I was just reading. YouTube is not maintaining smooth video. Ugh, come on. I wanted to, you guys, like I've been saying, I wanted to do the Pokemon card openings on the channel to give away to you guys, but man, dude, the scalpers are brutal. Pokemon is just destroyed. Like, honestly, it's ruined. It's ruined. So bad. I can't find anything anywhere. It's just terrible. Pattern matching and mappings. All right, let's finish this page and example, and then we'll get to standard API mappings, and we'll be done with reading. We got to keep going. My goal is to finish this book by our 1-year mark. The match case statements support subjects that are mapping objects. Patterns for mappings look like dict literals, but they can match instances of any actual or virtual subclasses of collections.abc.mapping. In Chapter 2, we focused on sequence patterns only, but different types of patterns can be combined and nested. Thanks to destructuring, pattern matching is a powerful tool to process records structured like nested mappings and sequences, which we often need to read from JSON APIs, and databases with semi-structured schemas like MongoDB, EdgeDB, or Postgres. How do you pronounce it? Is it PostgreSQL? Example 3.2 demonstrates that. The simple type hints in get creators makes it clear that it takes a dictionary and returns a list. Right? Dictionary returns a list. We have match record provided with the following cases. Right? Where you have a type, book, API, to, authors is some names that you can have in a list. If it's that, return names. If this is the mapping you're trying to match to, you return name in a list alone. If this is the case, you return error invalid book record. If this is the case you're given, you return name. And then for any other case, you raise a value error. So in number 1, we're matching the mappings with the quote type, book, API, to, and author's key. And an author's key mapped to a sequence. Right, the author's key is mapped to a sequence, which is a list. Return the items in the sequence as a new list. Right. And number 2, well, we already talked about this, right? It's fine. Example 3-2 shows some useful practice for handling semi-structured data with JSON records. Includes a field for describing the kind of record, type, movie, for the key value, including a field identifying the schema, API 2, to allow for future evolutions of public APIs, have case clauses to handle invalid records of a specific type, book, as well as catch-all. Hold on, sorry guys. Catch up on some chats. Tim says, it makes me sad to think that they ruined Pokemon and SpongeBob. They'll never be the same. Yeah. Dude, I thought honestly about what are the copyright odds if we throw like some SpongeBob in the bottom left corner and just had it play during the stream. By the way, is everyone here aware of why Python is called Python? Monty Python and the Holy Grail? You can't replicate the 2010 vibes? Anyone here born before 2010? Well, yeah, I'm a 99. I'm a 90. Anyone here a 90s baby? In 3 years, people born in 2010 will be in college. That's crazy. I'm 26, so I'm 99. There's probably a lot of older people here. Yeah. Okay, now let's see how Get Creators handles some concrete doc tests. So B1 variable is equal to dict, API equals 1, author Douglas Hofstadter, type book, title is this. Get creators of B1, right, which will print the list. So, right, of the previous. So we say from collections, import order dict. B2 equals order dict, API equals 2, type equals book, title, Python in a nutshell, authors, Martelli, Ravenscroft Holden dot split. Get creators of B2. Martelli, Ravenscroft Holden. Because he's calling split here. Get creators, type book pages, right, spam, and value errors. Nice. Note that the order of the keys in the patterns is irrelevant, even if the subject is an ordered dict in B2. Oh yeah, API came first, author. The order of the keys doesn't matter. In contrast with sequence patterns, mapping patterns succeed on partial matches. In doc tests, the B1 and B2 subjects include a, quote, title key that does not appear in any book pattern, yet they match. There is no need to use the ** extra to match extra key value pairs, but if you want to capture them as a dictionary, you can prefix one variable with **. It must be the last in the pattern, and ** underscore is forbidden because it would be redundant. A simple example: my food equals a dictionary of category ice cream, flavor vanilla, cost is $1.99. Match food with the case of category ice cream, some arbitrary amount of details as the category key, including ice cream, and then print details here. This will print any other arbitrary key value pairs. Okay. The atomic handling of missing keys on page 90 will study the default dict and other mappings where key lookups via get item, dictionary index keys, succeed because missing items are created on the fly. In the context of pattern matching, a match succeeds only if the subject already has the required keys at the top of the match statement. The atomic handling of missing keys is not triggered because pattern matching always uses the d.get key sentinel method, where the dictionary default sentinel is the special marker value that cannot occur in user data. Moving on from syntax and structure, let's study the API of mappings. All right, and that's where we'll pause on the reading for today. Yeah, I've been using the match case quite a bit in my current project. It's really useful. All right, let's move on here. Let's delete these. Let's pull back up that really quickly. Fluent. You guys want access to these notes, they're on my GitHub, link down below. I highly suggest you guys take a pass through them. They're really, really good so far. Trying to be detailed for you guys. All right. Should we do a Leet code? Let's look at the next one. What would it be? If it's hard, I'm not doing it. It's a long day at work today. I built a lot of solutions today. Minimum depth. Is this just the same as the other one, but with the min function? If root is none, return 0, I'll return the min of self dot min depth, root dot left, plus 1, self dot min depth, root dot right, plus 1. No. Root is 9, return 0. It's different from the previous ones? Huh. So you travel down, you come back, that's 1. Find them in. Those are attached. That's the left child of and I return back output of 1. Oh. So if you can't go left, so you can't go left, or no, you can, if the other is none, you have to keep going straight. So in this case, the other would be 0, but we're getting 1 here because we're adding 1 to it. Return min. So what can we say? If we make this return -1 and we return 1 plus this, if min is 0, Dude, Mahan, I just started 5 minutes ago. What is up with you and wanting to spoil things? Like, no, I do not want a big hint. All right, we'll tackle that one a different day. Okay, I've got some updates here, boys. I've got some updates here. I met with my dad. We are one step closer to finishing this project. So for those that were wondering, or that don't know, my dad is a CPA, or is a retired CPA. So I wanted his opinion on how I could go about structuring our last two sections of our final project, the income statement and the balance sheet, right? So that being said, I've got some information here. So here's what I got, right? Okay, on the income statement, boom. All right, on the income statement, we are going to report. So we're going to have, this is what our structure is going to be, I think. We're going to have a year, right? We're going to have a gross sales. We are going to have a sales transport, right? A gross, right? Sales transport, right? We are going to have returns, right? We're going to have discounts, and we're going to have fee. Okay. So this information is reported right on the income statement. Right? This is what's going to provide us a value of net sales. Okay? Net sales. That's what that's going to provide us. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes here. Okay? So that's how we're going to break this down. That's our first goal, is to get net sales. Okay? We then have cost of goods sold. Okay? We then have gross margin. Right? So net sales less cost of goods sold equals to gross margin. So all in all, we have this. We have year, right? We have gross sales, which is the dollar amount. Right, let me grab a different color here. Plus a dollar amount less a dollar amount less a dollar amount less some dollar amount equals to some dollar amount. This dollar amount less some dollar amount equals to some dollar amount, called gross margin. Okay? We then have, it's a long chart here, so we'll have to see how we can style it. Almost done. Expenses for the period. And then this gives you net income for the period. And that is what we want to know. So less expenses equals to net income. Okay. Lots of data we gotta check here. Oh boy. Okay, let's see where we gotta even start. Okay. Okay, so this is what we're gonna need to do. Is let's go ahead and create a class. Let's create a class called the income statement. Right? So we're going to say we're going to say class income statement. We're going to establish the initialization of this class where we are going to have necessary information to make it. So should I put in here as optional parameters or attributes or required? So we'll say period is equal to so you got to give a period. You've got to give we'll give a year. Okay, so you have to give a gross sales in the form of a integer, right? And this year is going to be in the form of stir. We need to have sales transport. Sales transportation in the form of an integer. So how are we classifying that actually? Transportation charge. Sales transportation. Okay, that's fine. Okay, we then are going to have okay, right? Okay, now we're gonna have allowances, right? This is basically, these are item returns in the form of an int. We are going to have discounts in the form of an int. We're going to have fees in the form of an int. So how are we actually structuring, are we doing that? Fee discount, so let's keep that consistent. Form of an int. Okay. We need to provide, so that generates, so this is year, it's gonna be so self dot year is equal to year, self dot gross sales is equal to gross sales, self dot sales transportation is equal to sales transportation. We say self dot allowances is equal to allowances. We say self dot fees is equal to fees. We say self dot discounts is equal to discounts. Okay. Next, right, this is going to produce a net sales is going to be equal to self dot gross sales plus self dot sales transportation minus self dot allowances plus self dot fees plus self dot discounts. Right, so that's going to be net sales, self dot net sales. Okay, we also have to provide a cost of goods, a COGS, right? Right, a cost of goods sold. Right. Which is going to be an integer. Right, so then we're going to say that our self dot gross margin is equal to our, we'll put in here, self dot cost of goods sold is equal to cost of goods sold. Our gross margin is going to be equal to self dot net sales less self dot cost of goods sold. We are then going to provide self dot expenses equals to expenses in an int. Right? And that'll be saved there. So then we'll say self dot net income is equal to is equal to self dot gross margin less self dot net sales. No, sorry. Expenses. Perfect. So that'll cover our income statement. Variables, right? Now we basically need to set up the structure for this in our database for housing this information. So let's go to small business dbpy. Let's do this. Here. Let's say db dot execute create table income statement right. Is it doing that? Ooh. Okay, so we're going to create a table here where year, string, primary key, right? Or it's text. Okay. Come on. Okay, so now we're gonna put in, let's bring over our income statement class here that we created. So the next value we're gonna wanna insert is gross sales, which is an integer. The next thing we're going to put in is our sales transport, which is an integer. Okay. Next thing we're going to want to put in is our, just shorten this a little bit, sales transport. Okay, is our allowances. We're going to need to put in then our fees, discounts, COGS. And then expenses, right? So in between these, we're going to want to insert so net sales comes after fee and discounts. So this will be net sales, integer, right? Generated always as net sales is equal to gross sales plus sales transport less allowances less fees less discounts. Okay. We are then generating a cost. We then generate cost of goods sold. And then we have a gross margin, which is an integer, and it is generated always as net sales less cost of goods sold. We then take in expenses and spit out a net income generated always as gross margin less expenses. Okay. How does this table look? Hold on, so we'll have to say create table income statement.
Asina di sua maneira começou a celebrar fiesta tradicional.
How does this look? Your income statement looks solid, but there are a few things to consider. Good aspects. Use of generated columns. This is great for automating calculations. Follow a proper income statement breakdown. Appropriate data types for monetary values. Year's text primary key. If the year is stored as 20, consider using integer unless you plan on using formats like year, quarter. So this is saying, okay, year is, it wants me to use an integer for primary key. Gross sales, integer, not null. But you can have 0. You can have blank. Sales, transport. Transportation is. Sales, transport. Wants me to say default 0 for all of these. Stored do. Store SQLite columns can be either stored or virtual. Virtual columns. Okay. Allowances. Sales transport. Well, 0. Allowances default 0. Fees integer default 0. Discounts integers default 0. Generated always as. Stored. 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 Integer. Cost of goods sold is not null. Integer not null. We have a default 0 here. Okay. Okay. So let's run this. Now in our DB, we should have income statement here. Perfect. And here are all our columns. Integer columns. Okay. Now what we'll do is we're going to now say right, so we have this here, which is year. Okay, so let's go into now our income statement tab. Here's our income statement tab that we're working on. Hey, distracted? 5th Leet code problem today. Dude's been grinding. Congrats on the number 5 for today. That's awesome, dude. Okay, so how do we want to structure this page? Well, first off, I have to pass into here in addition to the text, I have to add into here the database. We'll throw in here the business as well. I'll throw in here the inventory tab, and I'll throw in here the expenses tab, and I'll also throw in here the transactions tab. Okay, let's add these. Self.database is equal to database. Self.business is equal to business. Self.inventory tab is equal to the inventory tab. Self.expenses tab is equal to the expenses tab. Self.transactions is equal to the transactions tab. Okay, so we're passing in those variables so we can get use of their functions. So now let's generate the matrix frame. Okay, this is going to be the income statement matrix frame. Income statement matrix frame. How should I do this? So I'm trying to think about how we should design this, right? So should I have just an overarching matrix? And then should I have rows be the years? Or should I have columns be years with the initial column being the data points? I think that way. I think I like that way. So we're going to say the matrix frame is equal to a ttk.frame, where it's going to have in self. The relief is going to be equal to solid, and the border width will make this 1. Let's then configure this matrix frame's width. I don't need configure actually. We'll go grid propagate false, and then let's just self dot let's just pack. Okay, so if we run this, get an error here. Okay, I need to pass in those variables into my tab now. So my income statement tab is going to get database equals to database, business equals to app.business. Inventory tab equals to inventory tab. Expense tab equals to expense tab. And transactions tab to transactions tab. So now if we run, balance sheet is blank. Oh, income statement isn't even on here. Where'd it go? Parent, add text equals text, add to tab control, parent equals text equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. Why is our tab gone? Oh. There we go. Okay. So now we have this frame. I placed it 0, 0. Y equals 0. Nothing yet there. So it doesn't have a height or width. So let's go sticky. Where do I put sticky at? In config? Where's sticky go? Oh, it's in grid. Replace the frame. So let's give it a height, I guess. So now will this show up? Yeah, now it shows up. So we need this to extend all the way. This is going to go all the way to the edge. So this is a 1200 less 65. width of 1200. Less 65. Okay. Well, it's not really. $1,200 less 50. Transactions tab. So I put that 5730 on 00. I placed it at 860. 10 over from the width. Just gotta say 60. Okay. 5. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's that. Now we're gonna have the matrix, right? So in this, we're gonna have self dot transactions or self dot income statement matrix headings is equal to database dot fetch income statement headings, right? So if we go to our database file, DB manager, so we have fetch expense headings here. I'll take this, come down here, to income statement functions, and then I'll paste that here. Fetch income statement headings. If self.con and self.db return headings from income statement. Perfect. So now that'll populate the headings, or get the headings for us. So now we're going to create the matrix itself. So income statement matrix tree equals to ttk.treeview. We're going to have self.matrix income statement matrix frame. Columns is equal to self dot income statement matrix headings. And then we'll say show headings. Like so. Okay, so now if we run appy, we need to pack this first. So self dot income statement matrix tree dot grid row equals 0, column equals 0, sticky equals north, south, east, west. Okay. That will add it. So then we need to make sure that the frame has equal weight. So self dot income statement matrix frame dot row configure weight row 0 weight equals 1, comment, bring this down, make this column configure. Okay, so now if we run this, we should see a okay, so if I run now, @py, now we have a matrix here. Cool. So we'll have it's not clearing our database correctly. Fetch income statement. So like this. Uh-oh. Huh. So we're not getting back the headings of our income statement here. We are getting these ones, but not these ones. Hmm. Let me go ahead and print these. Okay, that's pulling them. Pulling them, but it's not populating them. Huh.
All you think about day and night is dope. How much you've got?
Okay, so let's go like this. Let's say
What you'll do if you can't get it.
for index heading and enumerate self dot income statement headings. If heading in, we'll do like this, self dot transaction self dot income statement matrix tree dot heading index text equals to heading. Okay, so now if we run, we should see it there. There they are. So we just need to make these smaller so they fit. So we're saying heading. Then we're gonna say self dot income statement matrix headings or matrix tree. Dot column west anchor min width equal to 65, width equal to 75. So now if we run this income statement, okay, so we can go a little bit further here on these. So let's set min width to 80, max width to 100. Like that. Still too small. So we'll say 120 for width, min width 100. Run app high here, income statement. Okay, now we're off the screen a little bit. So gotta come in just slightly. $110. Still outside slightly. But we're getting in this extra column at the end here. Why? Why are we getting an extra column at the end? I don't know. Why are we getting this extra column? Show headings. print the length of this list. Should be, we got 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there is a blank spot coming up. Why? No blank spot here. So I wonder what happens if I go like this. What happens if I take the heading and I call a dot pop here? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then why am I getting 12? Gross sales, sales transport, allowances, fees, discounts, net sales, cost of goods, gross margin, expenses, net income. Oh, where's the year? Why am I not getting my main year? So let's go to fish inventory headings. Hey SA, how's it going? Thanks for coming in and stopping in and saying hello. What you working on? So we need to, we're getting an extra, we're not, the year column is not populating. The first column heading, text equals heading, anchor W. There we go. So now we just need to lower these slightly. So if match heading case quote a year, min width 30, width 50. In the case of everything else, we'll take all this back to what we were before. $80, 110, run. Our year should be small. Everything else is good. Perfect. That looks really good. I guess we don't need the year to be that big. Nice. Hey, Slows One, appreciate you for coming in. For those that are new, my name is Michael. Thanks so much for joining me. I have a degree in human bio and a minor in chemistry. Currently working on our CS50X final project, the Small Business Manager. I've been writing this entirely in Python from scratch on my own. It's been really, really good so far. Thank you so much for joining me. Leave a like if you're here and subscribe if you're new. Thanks for coming in. I stream every single day around 7 p.m. PST. So thank you guys so much. Okay, so now we have this matrix. So we're going to need to run right, so after we load for heading in, right? We grid it. Okay, so then what we'll do is we're going to, after we add this matrix and add our headings, right, we need to populate the matrix. So let's be self dot load all income statements. Matrix. Into matrix. Load all the income statements into matrix. Right, so then in this load all, okay, so that'll be a database function. So database function here will be def fetch or def headphones are dying, boys. No. Don't die on me. Gotta charge him for a sec. Hold up. Okay, so we're doing fetch database transactions. Okay, so down here we'll have functions, matrix, functions. Tushar, you forgot the quotes in your message draft. Caught you, dude. No worries. Def load all income statement into matrix. This takes in self. All income statements is equal to the self.database dot fetch income statements self dot clear income statement matrix tree sections, right? We then say if all income statements indexes is equal to what indexes of this are numbers, so are about dollar amounts 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So index 1 through 11 for I in range 1 to 11 for income statement. And all income statements we're going to list income statement is equal to a list income statement. We're then going to say income statement index of I equals to cents to dollars function on income statement index of I. I'm going to go here and say from class dot classes import aux functions. Okay, now we get that. Okay, so then we're going to insert this income statement in. index 0, and the values are going to equal to income statement. Alright, then I'm going to break this loop. No, so I need to take this and back out here, create a list, say for I in the range of 11, create an income statement. Right, and then do that. Insert the item at the end of this income statement. Return true, else return false. So now if we run this, def, this is going to be fetch income statements given self, and then we need to go here, take this, bring this down like such, remove this, so we say if this, shoot, key's stuck, there we go. Fetch all. Okay, so now if I run, we gotta go income statement, we gotta provide all here. No such table income statement. Income statement. Oh. Select all from income statement. Okay. So if I run apply, So I go to income statement into transactions tab. I just need to clear here. So in here, let's call this def clear transactions matrix tree. This is income statement matrix tree. So there we go. So let's get off here. Let's get rid of the print statement here. And let's run. Boom. There we go. Okay, so now that's perfect. So nothing's there because we don't have anything in there currently. So we're going to have to create functions to fetch these data points, right? Hey, Ray, how's it going? Hey, Chad, I'm going to join. Tushar, honestly, just work really hard, dude. The cream rises to the top. It's pretty true in my experience. In my personal professional experience as a biochemist, I just put my nose down and grind, and really just get my work done. Don't complain. Be receptive to new ideas and to change, and you'll really stand out just based off that, in my opinion, because a lot of people, the large majority of people, really just do the minimum to get by. So if you're willing to go above beyond, it will show. Doing good, Ray. Just working on this project here, the Small Business Manager. We've got our matrix created here for tracking these income statement amounts. And we are going to now create functions, hopefully, to query our database for these various amounts, right? So we're going to need to say, like, okay, to get the gross sales, so we're going to have to, like, we're going to have to query the transactions database, right, to get the ten fingers typing. Um, I'm honestly a really pretty good typer. Like, I do have my errors occasionally, but I do type pretty fast and pretty accurately in terms of, like, I'm able to do the notes pretty quickly and jot down all that stuff. Honestly, what it's so stupid, but when I was a kid, I would go spend some of those summers with my grandpa just in a neighboring town. He would watch me while my parents worked. And my grandpa and my dad were both pretty big on independent summer school. I think that's also what attributes to my abilities to be able to self-teach and to be able to be independent and learn independently and be, quick learner as well, is that my dad and my grandpa, when I was growing up, summers, they were a break from school, but I still had daily school assignments assigned by them. So I had to do like 20 to 25 minutes or 30 minutes of all the right type online growing up to learn how to type. So I remember doing typing games for every day in the summertime for a summer, and then also I had to do about 15 to 20 minutes of reading out of some sort of book or magazine or something that was I found interesting. It was a summer, so they allowed me to read magazines sometimes. And then I had to do times tables, multiplication tables. So I had to fill out like various multiplications tables before my dad got home. As just a part of like now. Yeah, it sucked as a kid, but looking back, like it really, like, in terms of like in school when we were doing like times tables and math, like I was kind of ahead of everybody else already because I had that pre-practice growing. My dad kind of instilled in me. I was able to type and use computers really good easily because I already had experience doing that. you know, so I honestly, it's a lot easier as a kid, but just repetition, right? Just keep practicing it. Okay, so um, our next uh, information needed is going to be to populate an income statement, right? So we're going to need to do various fetches, right? So this is going to be def populate or create income statement. Which is going to take in self and right, that's it. So then we're going to need to say, okay, the year is equal to, for what year, right? So you do have to provide a year. So we will say we need a query for the gross sales. Right, gross sales is going to be equal to self dot fetch gross sales. We're going to have sales transport is equal to self dot fetch sales transport. Allowances is equal to self dot fetch sales allowances, fetch allowances. We're going to have fees, self dot fetch fees. Given year. So we need to pass in year into all of these. Discounts. Self.fetch discounts. Given the year. And then okay, and then we need, that'll give us net so net sales is already populated. So I'll say this, net sales auto gen via SQLite. We'll have here cost of goods sold equals to self.fetch cost of goods sold given the year. Right, that'll generate us gross margin autogen via SQLite. Expenses is equal to self dot fetch income statement expenses given the year. And then net income, like we said, auto-generated via SQLite. So these are the functions that we have to create for doing this. right? So we'll create a fetch gross sales, which will query our income statement or our transactions. It'll verify the date, 2025. We'll verify the date 2025 and get this amount here. Okay, cool. All right, I think I'm going to pause here. All right, you guys. That was a good work session we did today. We had 2 hours of work on our small business manager. Actually, we did an hour and a half. We did a half hour earlier on reading chapter 3 in Fluent Python. So far, we created an income statement class, right? We're not ever really using this class. It's mainly just for my structural reference, right? So I created a class here just to kind of give myself some idea how the structure I want it to be. Although I'm not going to be creating any objects with this because I'm using SQLite, I could take objects on my query and convert them into this and perform various methods to these for updating certain things. But I have SQLite auto doing the generation, so I don't need methods to do that for me. So I think it's okay for the time being. But we have that, and then we created the income statement tab where we added in and passed in some necessary information. And then we created a frame for the matrix, and then we created the actual matrix itself and inserted all of the headings that we queried from the database for the income statement headings. And then we inserted those headings into the matrix itself. We then have a couple of functions here called load income statements and loads income statements into matrix and clear income statement matrix tree. So this one just wipes it out and blanks the matrix tree. This one will load all the values currently within our fetch income statements call from our database. And we will go ahead and clear the matrix and then populate the matrix with all of our income statements that are found in the database of income statements. We return true if that was successful, false if it was not successful. So now what we're going to do next time is we're going to write these functions for actually creating an income statement where we are going to fetch gross sales information, sales transport information, allowance information, fees information, and discount information, as well as cost of goods sold and expenses. And then that will take care of that. So right, and then what we'll do is we will insert into the table of income statements all of these values as a line item per this year for item ID, and then these other ones will auto generate, and then it'll populate via this load here, right? Yeah, this looks good. All right, you guys, thanks so much for joining me here. I really appreciate you guys stopping by and hanging out. I stream every single day around 7 p.m. PST, so please leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to hang out with me in the future. It really, really helps to support me on YouTube and just, keep YouTube supporting us. Anyways, join my Discord link down below where you can get access to all of my study information. And then yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. This was working. This was our CS50X final project. We're coming up on, about 60, 70% done with it so far. Just need to add a few more features and round out another tab after this one. I think we'll be done here within a week's time or so. And then we can move on and start open this up to an open source project, allow users and subscribers to contribute as well. I think there's some additional features I want to add that I need to add, such as right, we're allowing for allowances here, which means that we are allowing for items to be returned within our transactions tab. So if you look here, we are creating transactions for items, but we're not allowing for any items to be converted back into inventory status, meaning that it was returned. So what we could do here is we could add a section here basically, or some sort of transaction, right? We could commit a transaction and make the type make the type a return. So the sale platform would be a return, right? Or an allowance, meaning that it was returned back to us, and we make a new transaction for that item ID, right, and convert it back into sold. So then you could see basically logs of the item was sold, then it was returned, then it was sold again. So that's, I think, what we're going to have to do. Maybe we'll have to add in like a transaction type at the top for a sale versus return, for sale. All right, you guys. Little by little, a lot of work to do, but we'll get it done. Thank you so much for being here and joining me. I really appreciate you guys stopping by. See you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for coming in. Bye, guys.